Hi everyone. In this video, what we will see is we'll look at the course outcome calculation in the IQAC portal. Let's get started. Of course, first of all, you visit the iqac.vat.ac.in. Then you log into the respective campus. Right now, I am in Chennai campus, so I log into Chennai campus. The login credential are, of course, the VTOP credentials. So type in your VTOP credentials. So I type my credentials and also the captcha here, 8C, and that should get logged. Now this is your IQAC portal. Of course, you might have been already seen this. Now here under the teaching learning, you also see something called course outcome calculations. Please don't use this CO attainment data, that they will take it off a little later. But now you have to go for course outcome calculation. Now upon clicking on this, you will be seeing the list of courses that you have already handled in the previous semesters. So now these are the courses that I have already handled in my previous semesters. Now you can choose any of the courses and start processing your course outcomes. Now for the example that I'm going to do today, I'm going to actually do the process on this course MAT 2002, applications of differential and difference equations. Now to do that, there are 4 buttons over here. The first one is the process button, which is where you're gonna of course give the inputs on different assessments. The next one is the overall analysis that you want to see later after entering the details in the process. Then also the program wise analysis, and finally the final step is to freeze the analysis so that the analysis will go to your corresponding HOD and they will look into it. So let's start with the process. So if you click on the process over here, now this is the bit that you get. Now here you have the assessment type. Remember, you see that academic year and course and slot. Verify that everything actually matches with what you have the files with you. And also this page will appear if the course outcome for this corresponding course has been configured. Otherwise, it will give you a message saying that the course outcome has not been configured and ask you to contact the HOD. So please inform your HOD to configure the course outcomes. To give you an example, for example, I have one course here, MAT 5017. If I click on this, and that says, sorry, the course outcomes for this course is not configured in VTOP. Kindly contact head of the department. So they will update it. That's what I'm saying. Now if I go back and reserve back what I started with, if you see, this is what I'm working with, B2 plus DB2. If I click on the process, now there are assessment type that I have to select, and then I have to process the course outcomes for that. For example, here if I look into the course assessments, there is assessment 1 to 10 and CA1, meaning CAT 1, then CAT 2, then digital assessment 1, etc., like this. So there are many things like this. Now for the engineering courses, there is assessment 1 to 10 are not there. Please make a note. This is only for the 3 real courses like BSc and BComs. So do not use these things to enter your lab internals by mistakes. So lab internals has a separate assessment here under lab experiment internals. So while filling up lab and experiments internal, you need to use only this assessment and not any of these assessments. Now let's start with one by one. So here I have a digital assessment 1. So that's the first assignment that I want to click on, assessment. Then the second thing is total number of students present. You see, for each assessment, some of the students may be present, some of the students may not be present. So you need to look into that very well. Now, digital assessment 1, I have here in my folder, if you can see, question-wise marks. Now here I have DA1, that's a file that I have in my Excel sheet. Now if I open that file for you, and that's this file. Now if you notice this file, I have actually made a file with the registration number and the question that I have given and then corresponding marks. So here the digital assessment 1 has 3 questions, and the first question I also have the mapping corresponding to this in my Excel sheet. You don't need to have this, I just had it for my reference. So the question number 1 is corresponding to CO1 and it has 3 marks, and question number 2 is corresponding to CO2 and it has 3 marks. Question number 3 has CO3 and it has 4 marks. So accordingly the marks are already been allotted here. Now the total marks are also been there. Now this is my DA1 file. Now if you notice this file, I also have distributed present and actually marks distributed all. Remember, there are many students who are already absent here. Now what I have done here is I have filtered out the students only who are present for this digital assessment and placed it in this particular table over here. If I scroll down and see, there are 55 rows, which means there are 54 students who are actually present. If I look at this, if I look at the count here, I'm sorry, there are 53 students actually who are present. There are 54 rows, right? Yeah. So 53 students who are present. So all that we have to do is go to this place, change this 63 to 53 because that's the only number of people who are present. Then the total marks. Remember, the digital assessment 1 for me is only for 10 marks. If you have given for 20 marks, please give it as 20 marks. Now the target student target is 60%, and what does that mean is whatever the CO that you have given, it is expected that they should attain 60% of them. That means if you have given CO1 for 10 marks, then they should have scored at least 6 marks. So that's the expectation, and that's what this means. And the class for each students, this is the target, and for the class as well, this is the targets. Overall in the class as well, if 50 students have been giving that examination and 10 marks for one question, that means total 500 marks for all together, and it is expected that the students will have at least 60% of 500 altogether. That's what it means. So as I said, I have 3 questions, so let's add one by one. So the question number 1 has 3 marks and with the course outcome 1. Now if I press this plus button over here, and that adds the another question, and here I have question number 2 with another 3 marks with the course outcome 2. I press the plus button again, that adds third question and another 3 marks. I'm sorry, that was a 4 mark question, and it has a 3. It covers the course outcome 3. So this is the assessment that I entered. Right now I have entered only this question paper detail here. Now if you hit submit, and it does say success data saved, and if you scroll down a bit, once the page actually automatically get refreshed, if you scroll down a bit, now you see the new digital assessment row appeared in the bottom. Now in that you see this is the entered count 53. Note down this count, otherwise if the count is not matching, your Excel file will not be taken for evaluation. So you need to write the proper count here. Now all that you have to do is, now I need to upload the marks. Remember, so far only the assessment has been added. Now I need to upload the marks for that. Now hit on this edit button over here if you have made any mistakes while you have entered the details over here. Okay, so now correct these mistakes and then hit submit again, and that will save the data. Now to process this particular assessment, all that you have to do is hit on this button called process over here, and that will bring a new page where this assessment is only for the digital assessment 1 that you have chosen. Now all that you have to do is you have to download this template, which is available over here. Just hit download and open this file in Excel. So here let me right click and open with in Microsoft Excel, and you see this gives you a serial number which counts from 1 to 53 because 53 was the number of students who were present in your class, and this one is the student registration number, and this one is question number 1 and question number 2 and question number 3. So all that you have to do is, this was your Excel file that you were maintaining, right? Now copy all of them. So over here I have student registration number and question number 1 to 3, then until the last one. If I press this shift and then click on the last one, it selects all of them. Now copy this. Now go to your new file that is been downloaded from the IQAC portal. Remember, this was my marks template for DA1. Now click on this first cell over here and right click and paste special. With that you select values. So all that I wanted was only the values, not the format itself. Now if you copy and paste it, you see all the 53 rows has been filled. So make sure that you verify that. So only thing you have to keep on checking and remember is do not pass any students who are absent in this. So only the students who are present should be involved inside the Excel file. Now save this Excel file right away. Remember, this is not an Excel file, it's a CSV file. If you notice the file type over here, what I have opened, it's a .csv file. So it's not a Excel file. So just save it from this. It does says that possible data loss. Don't worry about it. Just save it as it is. Now close this file. In fact, you can also close this the DA1, which you have already had it in your local file. Now go back to your IQAC portal. Now you have downloaded the file and you have already filled the data in it. Now you can choose the file. So choose, and remember it was under my downloads and it was this template. Okay, and open. Now hit submit, and that should process the file, and it should say that success, file uploaded successfully. By any chance, if this says the file does not upload successfully or it says some error, then you might have to check whether the file has been properly processed or not. Meaning sometimes you might have missed the number of students, or sometimes you might have added students who are absent. Sometimes you have missed marks for some students. So such things should not happen. Okay, that's it. Now once you completed that, you can see that below in the same page that completed marks or the compiled marks are already been uploaded, and you can see the remarks here as all says valid marks. So everything should say valid mark. If for any students it says invalid mark, please inspect on that and then redo the process again by going back to the meaning by uploading the file again. So any number of times you want, you can actually upload the file until you freeze it. So feel free to upload the file once you, suppose if you see any invalid marks in these places. Okay, that's all. So the below one shows the student attainment student wise. As I mentioned, it is expecting 60%. So here you see it's a 2 means at least it expects 1 mark. So so that it attains. So here it's 66%. It's out of 3 they have got, meaning the student has got 2. So here it is 1, that means that out of 3 marks that he has to get, he has actually got 1 mark, that is 33, so which is lesser than 60. That's why it's red marks. That's it. So once you see all of this, you also will see that the CO attainment program wise as well. Right now I have only one program, which is MIS, therefore it shows only one. If you are actually handling 2 programs like BCE and let's say some other branch, then it will show program wise analysis as well. Now all the CO analysis, whatever has been listed over here, is scaled down to out of 3. That means the scale 1, scale 2 and scale 3. Okay, so anything above 60% shows scale 3. So that means out of 53 students who have actually attended all the CO1 questions, they have actually got 60% mark or more than 60% mark in that CO1. That's what this says. Okay, now once you confirmed with whatever has been done is correct, then all that you have to do is just confirm and save. Now that should show again success. Now if you go back, if you come down here, now you see that previously it was mark uploaded was empty. Now it is actually showing me date, and that means now I have actually finished this process. Now it also shows that it's blocked. Remember in the earlier case it was showing delete option, because what we did is we have confirmed and saved that this particular assessment is correct. That's all I'm saying. So this is the same process that you have to go through for DA2 and then the DA3. So I'm going to quickly do all of them. I'm going to speed forward this video so that you don't have to watch me doing DA2 and DA3. And once I come to the CAT one, I will resume the video. Well, now that I have completed for all the DA1, DA2 and DA3, you can see that digital assessment 1 is blocked, digital assessment 2 and 3 are blocked. So all the 3 are over. Now the next assessment that we wanted to fill up is actually called continuous assessment 1, that is CAT 1. Now for that CAT 1, for the courses which has been already done in Codetantra, you already have the question wise marks entered there, so you can download it from there. Otherwise you will be already having it in your Excel file, so you should be having it there. Now you see that in Codetantra, from where you can take that file is if you log into your Codetantra account. Now what we wanted to do was, let's go to the question bank admin, and under that first let's check what the examination that we are searching for. So right now I'm searching for MAT 2002. Now here there are 3 exams which has already been happened in Codetantra. One is CAT 1, the other one is CAT 2, the other one is FAT. Now let's look at that CAT 1 here. You see that the first 5-digit number over here, right? And that is the course ID, that is the exam ID which is on the database. So I keep that in remember. Now all that I want to do was, I want to go for faculty tab later. Then under the faculty tab, you see that the test folder over there, right? Test tab over there. Now here you click on this view scheduled test results. Now in this you can find all the tests which has been under your registrations. So now what we can do is, we can actually filter out by the date or by the ID. Okay. Now what we want to do was, we want to look at the ID. Now you know what I do. Actually I will open a new tab just like this, and then log in again. Now I go to the faculty tab. Now I go to the question bank admin. Now if I type my subject code, and this is the subject that I have, its number is 13262. So let's type 13262 and then fetch, and that should give me one exam here. You see that this is the CAT 1 for my subject MAT 2002 for the winter semester. Okay. Now here you see, you can hit on this results tab over there, and that should open a new page. And in this page you see there are many buttons over here that I can make use of to download some analysis. Now one of them is download evaluation stats. So over here, now if you hit download on this, now this gives you an Excel file. If I hit open that, and this gives you an evaluation report like this. Now all that it contains is, it contains the registration number column, it contains the name and then schedule ID and some other details, and also it contains something like this 1, 2, 3. And for some examinations it might be A, B, C, because we were told to write part A, part B and part C. So whatever the way you have configured the question paper, and that's the way it comes. So here it comes as like question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, and out of the marks that you have assigned, and this is the marks that you have given. So these 3 actually is question been there. So now if you look at the question paper over here for CAT 1, actually what I have done is, I have given 30 mark questions, in which all the 3 questions are actually having 10 marks each. Now this is the mark that he has got in total, and this is the mark for question wise. So now all that we have to do is, now we have to preserve this file and we have to use it for entering the marks in our CAT 1. Okay, fine. Now one more thing that you have to keep this file ready is, you need to, again as I said, include only the people actually who have appeared for the examinations. For example, here there is a student in the row number 45 who has not appeared for the examinations. So you need to filter it out that this guy is not having there. So to do that, so what we can do is, now we can select all of them by pressing Ctrl A, then hit the sort function over here in the top right corner. I think it's under the home tab itself. Now if you click on filter over there, now that gives you some filters over there, right? Now what that you have to do is, now you can note down this, there is a column called exam appearance status. Now hit, then you check this box, check out this box called not appear, so that it gives you only the people who are appeared. There's one more thing that you have to take care of is that as well, that there are some students who have applied for re-evaluation and their marks might be repeated. For example, here you see there is a student called MIS 1139 who has primarily got some marks, and who also actually appeared for re-evaluation, and he has got 0.5 marks etc. 0.5 marks extra. So all that you have to do is, you need to remove the primary mark and you need to consider only the re-evaluation. So now what I will do is I will remove this guy just by pressing delete row. Remember, I am removing the primary mark. I have to consider the updated one. So I remove it and I have only re-evaluation. Now if I scroll down through the pages, now I don't see anybody else having the re-evaluated mark, so I am good with that. Now this shows how many students have present here. Now if I click on the last record over there, and then if I shift press the first record, remember without the registration number column, that should show the count is 64. That means there are 64 students who have appeared for this examination. Okay, fine. You can also check this in the Codetantra itself. You see that the question based analysis also shows that the text takers are 54, and that means 64 students are present in your examination. All right. Now with that, let's go back to the IQAC portal to configure Cat1 and then upload the marks for this. Now this is a continuous assessment one. As I said, this is what I have chosen. As I have mentioned, there were 64 students who have given the examination, not 66. So that is 64. And total mark for that examination was 30. And the question 1 had 10 marks. And the CO corresponding to that is, so that's my Cat1 question paper. So the first question is CO1, second question is CO2, and the third question is CO3. So if I come back here, so the first question is CO1, and the second question, which is having 10 marks, and CO2. The third question is again 10 marks, and that contains CO3. Now hit submit, and that gives you a place over here to add the marks for that particular assessment. Now hit this process button over here. Now the process is pretty much same. So download the template. Now go to that file, open that file in your favorite editor. So I am opening it in Excel here. As I said, student registration number and question wise marks. Now once you finish the job, choose file. Now remember, you have actually saved the values in the template over here. Now select that Cat1 template, open, and hit submit. And now that source file uploaded successfully. Now if you come down, now it should say all of them are valid mark as we have done it in the DA1, and it should also show the CO analysis for each students and also the program wise analysis. Hit confirm and save, and that particular assessment gets freezed. Now the same thing should be done in Cat2 as well. Let me do it quickly. All right, now that Cat1 and Cat2 got over, if you go back and see the results, and that says DA1, DA2, DA3, Cat1 and Cat2, all that got over. Now the only thing which is remaining is the FAT, and now I have the marks for that as well. If I look into my question wise marks, so I finished all these assessments, and now I have FAT. So now let's go back to the FAT. Now you see now you are looking at the Excel file. Now you already know that how to create such Excel files over there. Now you are looking at an Excel file where I already have the question wise marks here, so I'm going to utilize it quickly. FAT actually has 12 questions, so I need to configure it accordingly. So I'm going to fast forward that as well, and I hope you can do it by yourself. And total marks is actually 100. Remember, although the question paper was for 120 marks, you're supposed to write only 100. So you can have more marks here inside the questions, but the total maximum marks is actually 100. Okay. All right, now I have done the final assessment test as well. Now as you see that the table completes the theory part. So any courses which has only theory, now you can actually go ahead and look at the analysis and then freeze it over there. Now I have the lab attached to this particular course as well. I'm going to continue doing it. Now if you look at the process again, as I said, now I have to do two things. One is lab internals, the other one is the FAT assessment or FAT lab for that. Now, lab internal has to be entered as a single assessment. Now, remember, as I said, number 1 from number 10, whatever the assessment showing over is not for the beta courses. It's only for the 3-year BSc and BCom courses. So now there is a separate assessment called lab experiments internal. Now click on that. Now hitting on that will give you the access to give exactly in the similar fashion how did you actually enter the marks for DA1 or any other assessment. Now if you go to my folder, now this is the marks that I have. Before going further, I also would like to make a note on this, that the analysis for the lab has to be done only for the students who have registered theory under you. So no matter what whoever has done the lab under you, the people who have registered theory under you for that subject, only for them you have to do the analysis for the lab. That means right now what I have showing in the Excel sheet over here, all of them have done the theory under me. It's not necessary that they have done the lab under me. They might have done it with somebody else. Now, obviously, this list that you might be having it probably in the offline will have only the students who have done the lab under you. To get the marks for the people who have done the theory under you, you need to actually visit VTOP. Here in VTOP, you can see that under the evaluation, there is a new entry called common mark view. So if you look at that common mark view, you can select the semester in which you have actually handled the theory subject, which actually had an embedded lab. So here, let me show you one example. So in the last fall semester, in the flexible slot, I actually had one course with the embedded lab. Now if you select the report type for them and process, and then you can hit download to download that file. That downloaded that file. Now you can open that file and have a look at it. Now if you see this file, remember this is the common mark view that we have downloaded. You see here, this is a long data type entered. You can see that there are multiple rows actually involved in it. So the way actually you split this data frame into the way that you wanted is probably just by selecting all of them and just insert and go to table. That's all. And make sure that my table has header is on, just okay. And that will make this particular Excel sheet, the selected area as a table. Now you can actually have the mark mode. It actually have all the marks like DA, CA2, meaning CAT 1, CAT 2, FAT, all of them. Now we actually also have something called AST1, AST2, AST3, all of them. So these are the only marks that is actually has been for the corresponding to the lab for the students who have registered theory under you. Okay. Now you can take this. There are multiple ways to take it. Either you can just unselect all of them and select one of them first, and then one by one you can copy this and then create a new sheet. So the registration number, assignment 1, these are the marks, and of course the registration number is not going to be changing if you change the assignment 2. For example, you uncheck this assignment 1 and you select assignment 2, and the marks over here is actually for the assessment 2. Okay. The better way probably to do it is insert a pivot table in a new sheet, and where you put the registration number in rows and then marks given in the values, and for the mark mode as the columns. Now you can see that it is actually giving you for the assignment 1 to 10, assessment 1 to 10, whatever the marks has been said. So there were 10 assessment for that course, and this is the marks. So you can actually take it from there, from here as well. All right. Yeah, that's all. You actually have to make that file ready for you. Now let's continue with this. Now if you see that, now there are 6 assessments that I have done. So assessment 1 to assessment 6. Now I have marks for everybody actually here. Now again, as I said, you can do lab internal assessment only when if they have present for all the labs. Otherwise, you will not be able to do it. The way you think about this is each assessment is being considered as one question in the lab assessment exam, and then you are actually going to configure the rest of them as well. Okay, fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to again select all of them, and I'm going to hit the filter button over there so that I can sort them. So I'll start from the first assessment. So in the first assessment, I'll uncheck the absent so that the absentees will go on. And the second assessment, there is nobody absent here who are absent for first one. So then the third one has some absentees, so I'll remove that as well. And the fourth assessment does not have any absence, so I'll leave it. And the fifth one also has an absent, so I'll leave that as well, meaning I'll uncheck that. And the sixth one doesn't have anything. Okay, fine. Now the final assessment test, right now as of now, I'll leave it, so only 6 assessment. Now all the 6 assessment does not have any absent over there. So let me count the number of people present for this lab internals altogether, and that says 43. Okay, so only for this 43 students I'm going to perform the analysis. So here is the 43. Now the total marks is for the internal assessment, each assessment is actually carries 10 marks. So I have actually given for 60 marks altogether. So it's 60. Then let's write question number 1, maximum marks 10, and whatever the CO that you have assigned to that particular lab. So okay, that's it. Let's submit it. And we'll go down and we'll process the lab internal experiments. So now click process, download template. Now let me open that CSV file with my Excel, and you see that my Excel file has, my internal Excel file has the registration number and also the 6 assessments. So I can copy this and then I'll go here and paste it, paste special values. That gives me values for all the 43. Now save this file, close it. Choose file, and that's a lab marks template. Submit. Success. Now of course you can verify all of them whether they are all valid marks or not. Then come down and save, confirm and save. So that gives you confirm and save. Now that completed the lab internal. In a similar fashion, you also have to go and do the lab FAT as well. If you look at the assessment type, so over here it's a lab final assessment test. So hit. Now I also have the final assessment test question wise as well here. So if you notice here, now this is the final assessment Excel sheet, and that's a lab FAT. Now the CO mapping, I have actually 6 questions which are actually designated marks like this, so I'm going to fill it up. First things first, I'll have to find out how many students are present, and that's 61 again. So let's go and write 61. Then total marks for that is 50, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. Now let's process the final assessment test as well. And now that's completed. Here you see all of them are valid marks, and here is the program wise analysis. Now let's confirm and save. Now if I go back, so actually I have completed all the assessments. See that all the 6 assessment for theory and 2 assessment for the lab. So everything has been completed. Now if you go back from this place and you see that overall analysis, this shows all the direct and the direct assessments for each of them. Okay, fine. Now there is also an indirect method of of attainment calculation as well. If you would have done that indirect method, then you also have to do that as well. Now, in our department, what we have done is we have actually circulated a form to the students and asked for the indirect CO attainment percentage, indirect CO numbers out of 5. And they have given the number, and we do have that numbers for us. So we can actually put that numbers as well, one of the assessment. If you go back here in the process, now there is an assessment called indirect assessment. Now here you see that number of students who have actually given the indirect assessment and the total mark that you have allotted for that. So mostly if you are having 5 COs and you have allotted 5 marks for each of them, then there should be 25. And each question that you asked on each CO has to be actually considered as one question. So in that way, you can actually perform the indirect assessment as well. I'm not doing it right now, so probably you must be able to do it by yourself. Now I'm just going to click on this overall assessment. Now you can confirm and save this right now itself. Remember, indirect assessment is not mandatory as of now, but it will be mandatory in future. Then you can confirm and save this. So let me confirm and save this right now. Now once you confirmed and saved this, now if you go back, now you can also visit the program-based analysis as well. Now hit the program-based analysis. Now it says, dear professors, kindly do not forget to save the outcome attainment for all the programs batch individually. Saving only first program batch will not save the outcome attainment. And what does that mean is, you see right now I have only one batch students, MIA students. That's why it is actually giving you only one bar like this, so that I can go down and confirm and save this. Suppose if you have one more batch students, let's say BEC is also there, then there will be one more tab over here. You have to click on that. That also will have a confirm and save button. So you need to confirm and save there as well. So make sure that you actually confirm and save in all the tabs, whichever the how many other tabs is actually available. Please save it on all the tabs. So now if I hit confirm and save, and that completes the process of program attainment. And finally, if you go back to this process, now I have completed the overall assessment saving, and also I have saved the program-based analysis. Now if you hit on this freeze, now you can see that the overall attainment is been given over here. Obviously it's not having anything right now in this moment. You have already actually seen that it has been just giving you that it is actually saved, and program-based attainment is also saved. Okay, fine. Now what you can do is, now you can confirm and freeze. Remember, once you confirm and freeze, then you will not be able to alter anything. Only your HOD can see this later on. Okay, now if I hit confirm and freeze, and that says success data saved, and if I now go back, and you see that this is the place that we were working on. Now there is no process button, there is no overall view button, there is no program view button. All of them are blocked, and now I can just view only the freezing status. That's all. I hope this video has helped you to enter the course outcome attainment calculation process. Thank you so much for making to this end of this video. Thank you so much.